Today's ABA word is DRA, Differential Reinforcement of Alternative Behavior. So what does this mean? We need an alternative. Let's say that the function of the behavior is attention, and they're just like, hey, hello, what's up? This is a behavior that's just not appropriate in a classroom, and they're just trying to, woo! It's kind of like, okay, you're trying to access attention, but that's just not the way to do it. So instead of saying, no, don't do that again, let's replace the behavior with an alternative option, which is teaching them how to appropriately ask for attention or access that attention. So we have to find an alternative. We're not planning to just focus on eliminating that behavior without finding an alternative. So DRA focuses on, hey, let's find an alternative. So if you're planning to choose DRA as a reinforcement, make sure that you find a behavior that is replaceable and it serves that same function, which is accessing attention. Let's do another one. DRI. And y'all, this one used to be a hard one for me. Differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior. So incompatible, not possible. So let's say this kid is just like, it's kind of like, let's get him to engage in activities and reinforce those activities that gets those hands busy. So then we're not like just, because if he's riding a scooter and he's up here, can he really slap you at the same time when he's receiving all that good reinforcement? He's having fun. We're engaging him in activities that will not really allow him to go and just slap around or engage in a lot of that for whatever purpose that is. Engage him in activities where his hands are really, really busy and reinforce that way more than we are reinforcing this. At some point, that's going to outweigh, and he's going to be like, well, I get a lot of, let's say that the function's attention. I get a lot of attention when, I'm getting all this praise and reinforcement, and I get to scooter and have fun. We're eliminating the opportunity, those chances to. So remember, incompatible. You're not really able to engage in a behavior if we find that behavior to replace with something that in a way is not going to be compatible for them to engage in that. So differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior. Today's ABA words are DRD and DRL. Y'all will not believe me how many times I have recorded myself with these two, and ABA is hard, okay? Because I have been researching to make sure I am giving y'all the right information, because this could be interpreted in different ways. This could be all done in different ways. And at the end of the day, as a BCBA, you are going to make the decision that you want to do. There's nothing set in stone, because that's what science is, you guys. Science is, you can try it, you can figure it out, you can prove it that it will work, and that is what it is. So DRD and DRL. DRL and DRD, they're similar, and they both focus on reducing behaviors, not so much behaviors we want to eliminate. We're not really replacing any behavior. We are just going to lower that behavior. So these are appropriate behaviors. These are behaviors that we want them to engage in, but maybe they're engaging in these way too much. For example, let's say little Johnny is washing his hands 5 times in 1 hour. Unless you're pottying 5 times in 1 hour, maybe that's just not appropriate in that situation, let's just say. And we want to diminish the rate. So we are only going to reinforce if he washes his hands less than 5 times. Then next, as we lowered it to 4 times, now we're going to reinforce when it's happening less than 3 times, less than 2 times, or whatever is appropriate in that situation. When it comes to DRL, we're talking about lowering the rates, but within an interval time. let's say little Johnny is raising his hand or asking too many questions at once, and we want to lower that rate. So what we're going to use is inter-response time, meaning let's increase that time between the first question and the second question, right? And in that case, I want little Johnny to, once that first question is asked, that hand is raised, whatever, then we're going to wait those 15 minutes before the next one. So that is our goal. So then within time, you start to notice before he was doing 40 times an hour. If we extend that inner response time, you're going to see those numbers of that response actually decrease. We're going to get lower rates. CRD, it's more like strict. It's more like let's diminish each instance versus lowering the rate with DRL. I hope that helps you guys. It's pretty similar. So just kind of try to understand a little bit of both, because you can choose either or. At the end of the day, you are the BCPA and you get to choose.